welcome to Tri-County Regional Black Chamber of Commerce Let's Talk Business podcast. Hey, but today we got Miss Leandra Thompson back with us to talk more about the chamber and what's going on with that. But first, we're going to go ahead and thank our sponsors. Southwest Airlines is a proud air travel sponsor of Tri-County Regional Black Chamber of Commerce. We also like to thank Primacore Business Solution. So, Miss Leandra, yay!
Yes.
I get to have you back, and we get to talk about the cool things that have been going on.
A lot of things have been going on.
So, you know,
Cool and hot.
Cool and hot. I love it.
Yeah.
So I know that yesterday was a really big one for you. For me too. I got to listen to a webinar that you were featured speaker for. So
well, I was one of the speakers.
yes, one of the speakers. I know there was many, but I was like, oh, cool. And you got to kind of go first.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And I think you impressed some people.
Well, I hope that impressed on business owners that they need to be planning.
Yes.
And this is an opportunity. This is if everybody just take a deep breath. What was the saying at one time? Woosah.
Woosah.
Woosah. If everybody just woosah and allow things to form in front of them and allow things to come, they will see that we're not in a crisis.
Right.
We're basically in a turning point, a different mindset. Something is coming in, and I will say now there is a market for business owners, and that market is international.
Yeah, so we want to make sure that everybody who's listening remembers what we're talking about. So it was the EXIM webinar from yesterday for expanding global opportunities.
Well, you had EXIM Bank, which is Export-Import Bank, which doesn't necessarily support importing, but they support more of the exporting financing. And SBA, which is Small Business Administration, they have an international arm to SBA. And they talked about the Houston Commercial Service Center, which handles and support exporters as well. So we have one here, which is part of the U.S. Department of Commerce.
I mean, this is pretty cool. I was nice because I know when I had originally talked about, I try to encourage a lot of people to sign up and go ahead and be a part of the webinar.
Thank you. Yeah.
Because now at first I was like, well, I don't know, I don't need to go because I'm not exporting or importing anything. But I actually learned that I learned a lot by being in there for that hour. That they are looking for small business owners to do the exporting, and that they're willing to support and help you. So first, I want to know, how did you come about to be the only chamber partner with these two people that go and give this type of webinar?
Well, we've been around for 15 years, Tabitha, and we have had an international initiative for those 15 years, and we have reached out to those entities, the ones I named. SBA, EXIM Bank, Houston Service Center. We are strategic partners with these entities because we have an international initiative, and small businesses, they support small business. Larger companies are doing everything that they have at their disposal. They have the funding, they have the staff to provide all the information that is needed. But the smaller company is not exporting the way they should. And you saw the numbers. Small companies thinking in terms of there's a lot to know, there's a lot of paperwork, I could lose my shirt if I even try that. And this is why we started off with an international initiative to help the small business owner be able to to be able to realize there is income. They can generate income anywhere on this globe.
Right.
What is business, Tabitha? You find a need
and
you fill it.
Yep.
It's people in the United States are not the only ones that have a need that you feel. People in other countries all over this planet have a need because we are a human society and we need.
Yes,
if we don't need, we won't.
Right.
Okay.
That is true. I love that because I just didn't think about it in terms of what I was doing, like software and software for me. would I send that? Would that be something that I could actually lend to, or am I answering the need in the United States as well as other countries?
Mm-hmm.
The answer for me is yes.
Yes.
And I didn't recognize that as being something I could do before yesterday. So the fact that they have additional resources available for people who want to join that initiative,
Mm-hmm.
was impactful, because I thought, it's one of those things where you just go in, fill out the application, and then just see what happens. Let's see what shakes out. But they're willing to take your hand and kind of walk you through it.
And this is why we're strategic partners, because there's a large number that would be, going after it. So how do you get information out?
Mm-hmm.
You get it out through your partners. So Tri-County Regional Black Chamber of Commerce is a partner.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why we have an international membership, because of the amount of information, the resources. We have international membership that we will be able to provide them with readily and easy access to all the information that is out there.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why that international membership is very strategically designed for anyone who wants to actually start doing business internationally. And you will find that it's not, when you have partners,
Yes.
when you have people working with you, it is not scary.
Right. This is true. It becomes less. You become less apprehensive to move forward. One of the things I liked that I heard was, I know that the chamber actually has international initiatives for very specific areas.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the questions came out, because I remember reading it, and it said, "Well, Miss Leandra didn't mention Africa, but but so they had answered the question and said, but we have access." So the partnership allows, and I love this, the partnership allows you to continue to collect the initiatives through the chamber.
Mm-hmm.
Right now that's Belize. Is there other ones that you
Mm-hmm.
have initiatives with? And then anybody that you don't have it with, then your partners can actually help to manage and to help to navigate that as well.
Well, that statement was based on the initiative direction
Mm-hmm.
that the chamber chooses, because of all of the challenges and the nuances, and when we talk about currency. So when we, and as I mentioned on the webinar,
Mm-hmm.
from the start, our focus was on Caribbean, Central, and South America, because we know we can easily get there. We don't have to change planes.
Don't have to change planes.
We understand the currency. We understand the language, because most of these countries speak English.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure most of other right now I've been told everybody in the globe speaks English.
But their primary languages do not support us.
Okay. So the thing was, how do you get a novice, a new business owner, to go someplace to gather facts,
Mm-hmm.
to have that international experience? So we looked at what was closest to us. Now, our international members will be trading throughout the globe.
Nice.
We're here to assist them in whatever area that they want to trade in. If they want to trade in Africa or Asia Minor or Europe or Australia, excuse me, I guess
That's
I'm
what we'll watch some more. You're willing to do it, and I think that's awesome, because at least, see, that's what being a part of the chamber actually allows us the opportunity to lean on your partnerships.
Yes.
The partnerships that are already here, that you have already forged those relationships with.
Mm-hmm.
And so we don't have to go out and spend a year or 2 years trying to nurture that relationship. We can actually lean on yours.
Exactly. Because we do have members who are trading in other countries.
Okay.
And I would say we have members, when I say other countries, we're talking about countries within the continent of Africa. So the things that they may be needing, or the assistance that they should be getting, would be coming from us. So this is why we have an international membership.
Mhm.
It doesn't specify a Caribbean
Right,
membership.
there you go.
It says international. So if you're an international member, whatever it is you want to do internationally, wherever you want to export or even import from,
Mhm.
we're here to assist you and to cross that bridge between the resources that are available here and the resources that are available in that country.
Right.
So we say Belize right now because we our international initiatives from the beginning took us to Belize.
Nice.
And so we have the connections. We have a strong bridge with the country of Belize, and then we ventured over to Haiti.
Oh, okay.
And so we got a good bridge in Haiti, not as strong as the one in Belize, but we have traveled to Haiti 5 times,
Oh, okay.
and we have, through our connections with Belize, and if you remember I mentioned CARICOM,
Yes.
through the connections with Belize, we were able to get involved in the CARICOM initiative, which is the common market free trade between the Caribbean countries. And so, this is how we got into Haiti. This is how we are slated to get into several other countries from 2021 to 2022. So I'm not going to
Don't
broadcast
give it away.
that. Yeah, I'm not going to broadcast that yet because our international members, again, are those who have committed and they said, I want to do international business.
Right.
Okay, so.
That's really good. I'm glad that we're talking about this because, from an international standpoint, when you go on the website, which is tcbcc.org, you can look around and take a look at what memberships are available.
Mm-hmm.
Because you may come in and say, okay, I would just want to do it in the United States. You just want to be a part of a chamber because you want to grow your business or whatever goals you have in front of you. But at the same time, now we're actually noticing that we can go and do different things. And so every once in a while I get really, really excited because I'm just like, because when I talk to you and you tell me about international, I'm like, oh, I just so want to do that. But for the most part, a lot of people don't believe that they want to do that. The webinar yesterday, actually, I like the polls, the fact that they had the polls in place. And at first when I was looking at it, I was like, okay, am I supposed to click there? But it was interactive. And that interactive messaging actually let us know what we were thinking. And one of the questions was, how much money do you think you're going to need in order to export into another country? And strangely enough, everybody's thinking it's such a higher dollar amount, but it actually turned out that that there are different rules for how you can get money from the bank, and which group can help you. And they're so waiting for us. They want us to export, and the percentage of businesses that are actually utilizing that is so small.
Yeah, because they don't think that they can.
Yep.
This is why we go head hog, or however you want to say it, with our international members, because they're saying, hey, we're stepping out of this box that we thought we were supposed to be in, and we now know that we need to come together and work toward getting more, being more prosperous. Because when you look at our a mission statement, Tabitha.
Yes, and I read that often, just so we're clear.
Okay. It says entrepreneurial parity and economic prosperity in the region, which is the U.S., and international. So we do help business develop their international businesses.
Yeah, I think that's.
Or their international interests, and they create business. You also can develop business in other countries.
Right.
And
what did you say? You can develop business in another country?
Yes, because one of the things that we have not actually understood, I guess, or discussed is the fact that when you give information, when you're providing services, and you are a U.S. citizen from the U.S., you are actually exporting that to another country.
Okay.
So if you're doing any training in another country, that's an export.
Okay.
Okay, so
Wait, because I'm like, okay, I just had an aha
yeah,
moment.
you're exporting. You're exporting you as a citizen here, giving something to another country, and they pay for it. So,
So it is
so you know the difference
possible.
between import and export.
One comes in, one goes out.
Well, it's who pays. It's who
Oh,
paying.
oh, so that's how we're
It's
gonna.
just as simple as who's paying.
Who's paying?
Export, somebody else is paying. Import,
You
you are
are paying.
paying.
All right, I can look at it like that for
Okay.
sure. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Export is they're paying you.
Right, because you're
You're
sending it out
to them. Okay, so
you're
you're getting
providing
money for
it
that.
to them, and they're paying for it. Import is that you're paying them for something you want.
Okay.
So if you want to import Caribbean rum, you're paying for it. But you're actually going to make money.
right.
But you have to look at where can you make money? What's the best feasible place? Or
Mhm.
what's how to actually make that money? So everything that you're going to do, whether it's here or international, starts with a plan.
Yes, a business plan
You
for sure.
gotta have a plan, because when they ask how much money,
Mhm.
the reason people threw these large numbers out there is because they haven't written a plan
Mhm.
to see what it's going to cost. What can I do? And one of the things that, I guess I'm giving a shout out to Belize, and that's because I'm the official trade envoy for the country of Belize, is that some of the opportunities and the investments there you can get involved in less than $10,000.
Yeah, so that's what I think that a
Yeah.
lot of people don't recognize. And I know that I've spoken to Hugh, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I've been there, and I'm going to do that." And Bishop Lloyd Jernigan, he actually talked about. He's probably the one who, when he said it, he's doing the doing the laptops and the laptops and the what is it? Any of the electronic devices. He's taking that and then he's giving it to over there.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
it's a nonprofit. So he found a different way to be able to give back because they're hungry for technology and different things and not necessarily. I wouldn't necessarily say it an improvement, but just a different way
Well,
of looking at different things.
let's say, even if we remove the word hungry,
Right.
there's a need.
Yes.
Because if you're training in technology, the schools, now how do you train your student if they do not have the hardware to understand the software and the inputs and the outputs? So you have to have this equipment. You have to have people who can provide that information. And if you're providing information from the U.S.,
Mm-hmm.
again,
Yes.
you are exporting.
Exporting.
And if you're selling computers from the U.S. to other countries, you are exporting.
Exporting. Right.
They have lights.
Mm-hmm.
Flip a switch, the light comes on because they have energy. And a lot of the energy, the knowledge on renewable energy and alternative energy, those are exportable. And so now that the lights turn on, where does the light bulb come from?
Yeah, that's a good question because it becomes so. What do they need? So I like the fact that he was able to say based on what he wanted, what he noticed when he was over there,
Mhm.
he was able to create something else that was able to funnel and
Mhm.
support their educational system.
Mhm.
So that allowed me to understand, and I think a few other people to understand that there's different other ways to look at it.
Mhm.
Because when we first started talking about international, the fact that they a lot of the different touristy type of places rely so heavily on like transportation
Mhm.
and other people
Right.
visiting them, right? But when the pandemic happened, everything slowed down. Then a lot of that kind of went away for a lot of places, which actually put a very big
Yeah.
impact on their economics.
It did.
So yeah.
I would say that right now, if we start paying attention
Mm-hmm.
about what's evolving as opposed to about what's actually really going on,
Mm-hmm.
there's always a purpose in everything
Yes.
that happens. Always a purpose. If we look at some of these smaller countries in the Caribbean, they're going to need some things that more so now than they may need it 6 months ago
Yes.
because certain things have changed.
Right.
And now I think a lot of countries are looking at ways of getting through this. And once they get through it, then what?
Right.
Okay?
Yes.
And so the then what is how we can go in and look at a partnering situation to where we bring in wherewithal, bring in knowledge, bring in information. They will have resources, human resources, natural resources, and we can put these things together and we can prosper together.
Right.
Yeah, I have to quote one of my friends. He was a former mayor
Okay.
of Prairie View. I think he's the doctor, Frank Jackson. And he would after every speech that he would give, because he was very involved with us, especially in the international, because we were able to connect Prairie View University up with the University of Belize. University of Belize is fairly a new entity. I think it's 20 years old now, but back then it may have been 9 or 10 years old. And he would always say, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't know if I have it exactly the way he said it, but it was, no matter what the phenomenon is, it will always be better if we do it together.
I like it.
Okay?
Yes, I
So
love
right now, we have an opportunity to do something together that is going to benefit the collective.
I like that. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna hold on to that one because I like that because I'm all about community, right?
Uh-huh.
And so are you because you're able to continue to build on that.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about a little bit about what's going on in the
Oh,
region.
yes.
You got some things going on. I was like excited.
Yeah, we have to look, Taffeta, we have to practice what we preach.
Right?
Okay, so if we're preaching coming together and seeing the future as something that we can start to build on, create, then we have to do that, and we have to assist our members in it being engaged in that. So because of this phenomenon,
Mm-hmm.
we now realize that we have to become, how do we get through it, how do we manage it, and how do we come out on the best side of it. And so, and with your help and assistance, because now, we'll make our announcement later, but you have devised a calendar so that we can actually look at what events and what information and how the chamber members come together
Right.
in this phenomenon.
Yeah.
Okay? So that we can all be better and we can all prosper. So I'm going to let you
No, we're going to talk about the Region 4 first before we end with the calendar.
Yes.
So you have a new region opened up. So
yes.
I want to know what, first of all, what do we need to do if we figure like there's another area that we want to start up? We're going to emulate what you've done for Region 4 with Jasper. So just tell us a little bit more about Region 4 and how that's coming along and what's going on with that.
Yeah, well, Region 4, from the very beginning, 2005, our infrastructure was 18 counties.
Okay.
Which would be 6 regions. Now, all this have a lot of vision going into it. So, but for the sake of moving on, and so we had to start with the first 3 counties. We had to figure out how do we get information out, what information is necessary, what does a small business owner needs, which was a network, and that network had to be able to provide the type of information and direction that a small business needed. And when we say small business, $30 million to me is not
That's not a small business.
but that's what SBA looks at. So we're going to say a business, a new business. When a
Okay.
person wants to start a business, they need that network
Mm-hmm.
because that network provides the guidance, direction, and the support. Not only the educational support, but the mental support as well. Because
That's big.
it's scary
Yes. To
because
say the least.
it's something in the future that you don't know, but it's something that you have a desire to do.
Mhm.
So you have people who would say, "Oh, you gonna be okay? Look at me. 10 years ago, I was where you are." So it's this is what the network is designed to do.
Okay.
So
I like it.
we did all the work in what we call Region One,
Okay.
and every one of our regions has 3 counties. So we were in the beginning the we had the blueprint for 18 counties.
Okay.
Let's start and 3 counties to each region. So let's start with Region One, which was Harris, Montgomery, and Liberty counties. So once we got Harris County, because that's where most of our participants came from, most of our chamber members, our sponsors, strategic partners was right. They were local. Once we got it going, we knew then how to duplicate.
Yes.
So we duplicated and we came up with we duplicated and installed Region 2, which is what we call an inauguration. And then we duplicated, saw that the duplication worked, and then we went to Region 3, which is Jefferson, Chambers, and Orange counties, and Region 2 is Fort Bend, Brazoria, and Galveston. And so now, one of our members wanted to open up Region 4 because that was where they would be starting a business and where they would, have a temporary residence there. And so we were like, okay, if you want the services in that region, certain things have to take place. So those things have now taken place.
Nice.
We have 20 charter members, and we are ready now to what we call have our inauguration event for Region 4. In Region 4, Jasper County, Newton County, and Hardin County. And Jasper County will be the seat
Okay.
of Region 4 because Jasper was the first county to reach the charter member
Expectation.
designation.
Yeah.
Yes. So we are excited. Of course, we're looking at how do we work with COVID,
Yes.
the rules and regulations,
Mhm.
and still have our inauguration. So we scheduled for September. We may have to move it to October, but we still are providing the services. We're working with the members there, and we're looking at growing that area.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work coming up there too.
I know. I can see because a couple of the people I've spoken to up there, really cool, nice people,
Uh-huh.
and you already did a boot camp out there. So I called it a boot camp. You're
Okay.
like, this is a workshop. And I'm like,
Okay.
seems like a boot camp to me.
Okay.
All 3 of these classes.
Yeah. Oh, they were in the workshop.
That was a workshop.
Yeah.
So
okay.
that's what you said.
Okay.
It was a workshop. I call it
Yeah.
a boot camp because we go to school all day at
Okay.
that point. But
Okay.
the fact that you have a lot of things that are going on for them, and now being able to take a look at all the regions currently and just continue to connect with all of them as one,
Mhm.
so that they don't, so just having those different areas that they can go to,
Right.
but then having the main hub that everybody can kind of come back
Yes.
and convene with, I think
Yes.
is really cool.
We definitely let the members know you're not limited to a geographical area. That geographical area helps us to understand how to best serve the community there because a lot of our communities and a lot of our counties that we are looking at the numbers are underserved. So it's easy to maintain a, a area in terms of what is needed, what's the culture. Because right here in the city of Houston, we have cultures,
Yes.
and so we need to know if you're going to move to this area of town, what's the culture of that area.
Yes.
So,
Yes, I can attest to that. I'm not from here, and I'll tell you, every time I've gone to a different area, I was like, okay, I'm so confused. Because when I was over on this side, it was this, that, other, but then I'm on this side, and now it's not totally different. So there's definitely, it's culturally driven depending on what area you land in.
It is, and that goes back to the culture of black being in our chamber name.
Okay.
So we're Tri-County Regional Black Chamber of Commerce, which specifies for us a culture that we must serve, and that we understand how to serve it.
Did you see that light bulb go off on my head?
The light bulb just went off in your head. Because if you're the Chinese Chamber of Commerce, what does that mean?
That you're going to serve the Chinese population.
Well, you understand the Chinese culture.
Right.
You understand how you know the history of the culture. You understand the nuances. You understand the barriers and how you will best be able to remove them or go over them. And so that's the same thing for our community. Mm-hmm. We're Black Americans only because we have a culture that we share. Otherwise, we're Americans. Right. Okay, if you're born here in America, you're American. And so, but we have cultures.
Right.
And we must recognize that our culture, every culture has some specifics to it.
Right.
This is religion. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to name them, but they're all kind of different in how they do things, how you learn, and how you express. And we know that our culture has history that is sometimes not very clear,
right?
Because it just did not begin here in the U.S.
Yes.
So we have no connection of history beyond the U.S., but we need that information to be brought in,
right,
so that we can understand the cohesiveness in how we relate.
Yes.
Okay.
I absolutely agree with that.
So this is basically the reason why the counties are in 3. It has some other significance to the number 3.
Okay, I'm ready.
Well, we're not going to share that today.
Because I was like, what? I got to learn something. I'm going to learn something else.
There are significance to the number 3. The number 3 is a very powerful number. And because if you think in terms of 3, past, present, and future.
Awesome. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And 3 is top,
middle,
width, and thickness. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so we're 3-dimension, right? And so even our DNA is in sections of 3. So 3 is a very powerful number. And when the vision came, it was very specific as to how we would be able to serve an underserved community throughout the Southern District of Texas.
I agree. I understand that for sure, because I know that there are a lot of things. How I think it kind of resonated strong enough that I said, now I get it, because I was listening to a lawyer talk about trademarks and IP, and it was a black lawyer, 2 black women, and her explanation was, if you are in the culture and you want to get your IP or your copyright or trademark done, make sure that you go to someone who understands the culture.
Yeah.
Because it turns out that there are things that one group will do over another that in the context in which it is being used, it is available and open for trademark, copyright, and IP. But the only way you find that out is if the person that you partner with to do that IP, copyright, whatever, understands the culture itself. Because I mean, just on another culture, if I went to the Chinese Chamber of Commerce, they would not necessarily know how to help me navigate the pitfalls of when I go to apply for a certification or a solicitation, because they will go at it one way, the
Right.
way that works for them, but it
Right.
doesn't work for us because it wouldn't work for me, possibly because my culture is different,
Right.
and so I'm seen
Yeah.
as slightly different. So
Yeah.
being able to go to a group of people or a
Mhm.
community that's able to help you navigate the pitfalls that belong to your culture is
Right.
extremely important, and I think that that's it's well worth the
But
say.
that's basically what we're not a black
You're right.
chamber,
Mhm.
because that has no, the word black in that instance has no actual platform.
Right. Mhm.
It's like saying black business. When did business get to be black?
When the owner.
Business is business.
Exactly.
You have many different ethnic owners of business. So we strive very hard to make it clear that business is business.
Right.
And our members have to be able to compete.
Yes.
You have to be able to be in business. You got to learn what it takes to be in business and how to compete with the next businessman or woman, no matter what their ethnic background is. So this is why business works.
Right.
This is why A, B, C to Z works, because you know A comes before B, B comes before C. Nobody says A, M, da, da, da.
Right.
When they're quoting the alphabets, they're quoting them in order.
Right.
So when you're in business, it is 101.
Right.
What does it mean to be in business, as opposed to does it mean to be a black business owner?
I
Oh,
understand.
wait, not a black business owner. I'm sorry. What does it mean to own a black business?
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
get that.
So you're not owning a black business. You're
You're owning
owning
a-
a business, and you are a person who identify with a culture.
Mhm.
Because I was okay with the ethnicity of Negro. I'm fine with that. Okay. But we understand through life and situations, certain things are we don't feel good with certain words.
It's okay.
You know,
I guess.
but I learned years ago, words, sticks and stones may break your bones.
Okay, but words may never hurt you. I'm gonna
Yeah.
say, oh my gosh, in certain contexts, that doesn't work. But in
But
this
it's,
context, this one works. So this one
Okay.
for sure, especially for certain titles,
Mhm.
or certain ways that they reference you. You know,
Right,
so it just
right.
depends. I think.
Well, you know, when we talked about SBA and XM Bank yesterday
Mhm.
at the webinar, they made it clear about minorities and small business and women business, and they use words to identify who they're trying to help.
Right.
And I can understand from their point of view why they would say minority, and because these are people who are not a part of they're not doing things that they're not competing on the same level that the majority are competing on.
Right.
So I'll go along with the word minority, but we very seldom use that word because we are not less, especially when we're talking about competing.
Right. So
Okay.
I was gonna do a Howard because Howard he's big in the dictionary. So when you say minority, so it would be the number two definition is the smaller in number of two groups constituting a whole.
Uh-huh.
So that's when they say minority,
Right.
or the third one, a part of a population differing from others in some characteristics and often subjected to differential treatment. So that's why they are saying minority. So that's anybody outside of the primary
Yes.
primary group of people
Yeah.
that everybody
Yeah. And that's what I say. I understand.
I
that.
get it, but I
Yeah,
don't
we
think
get
everybody
that.
needs to go.
But when a person's conscious
Yeah.
and their subconscious pick in the word or pick up and disseminate that word in their mind, it does mean
Lesser
the
than.
less than.
Yes.
And we do not want
It's not. Yeah. We're not.
to be we are not
We're
less
not less
than.
than. I think it's going to be more of we are part of the population that is accessed less than the others.
Yeah,
I think
that
think
when
that's
and
really
I
good.
understood that with SBA, Exim Bank.
No, I'm saying it for me.
Yeah, okay. Well,
I'm saying it for me
yeah, okay.
and anybody else who may think like me.
Yeah.
So it's not that you are less than, it
Mhm.
is that you are part of a group of people who are accessed less than
Right.
the others.
Right.
And so if
Yeah.
you fit in that, and that's normally women-owned businesses, black-owned businesses, and of course they even have minority-owned businesses, small businesses. Those are the ones that are part of that group of minorities.
Yeah.
So I get it. So I think it's good. But I had light bulb moments today. So it's
Okay,
always
good.
enjoyable to talk to you about these things because it makes more sense at that point. So
Well, thank you.
so
I'm
I'm
glad
like,
you're the
what?
light bulb.
Look, I was like,
It's-
what?
I walk around with this big old bulb.
But I walk around mine too, but sometimes it be off. Because sometimes
It can get off.
some of the messages
Yeah.
are like, nah, that don't make any sense to me.
It can
so I
get
don't,
cut off
I
sometimes.
don't
It
do
really can. The switch gets flipped.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
flips off. So you have Region 4 coming up. So how often do you think you want to open up a new region, or is it based on the what
Well,
is
it's
it?
based on the participation in that region. When
Okay.
you get participation and you have visibility, and you have people going through the processes of being able to access public markets,
Okay.
and those are the certifications, and they're actually there and they're getting that information. Now, if there's someone from another area that's outside of the areas that we serve, then we will look at, okay, what's the population here? How many people here, in terms of population, has been underserved?
Mhm.
And what are your needs? And can we fulfill those needs? Then we will then open up another region. Jasper came about because it was the opportunity for them to be served. They have been underserved in that particular county in terms of our ethnic group. And what was really heartfelt and it was profound that one of the first charter members of that county was getting up and introducing us, and he made the statement, Tri-County is the missing link. And that was like, wow. We were a missing link.
Yes.
Okay, well, we're going to come in and connect these links together. So it was a very
That's a very complimentary thing to say about the chamber,
they said
right?
we were the missing link. They had businesses there and they were doing business, but what they did not have was the group, the collective support and new ways of accessing opportunity.
That is pretty cool. So that means that region's opening up. You already have 3 regions that are there, but now it's time. Is it opportunity for everyone to pull into one to kind of see the whole entire pool of people?
Oh yes, because and if I'm thinking I'm reading you correctly, when we have the inauguration, then all of our resources
Right.
will be put together there, and we will be having networking. And then the thing is, what happens, we have what is called regional opportunity forums, where in each one of our regions we will have this event in that region where we're pulling in all of our resources
Nice.
into one region so that everybody can connect,
Mhm.
because the whole 18 counties is one big collective. And right now we're talking about 12 counties. So it's a collective, and we want to always be able to stay in touch, in mindset, in work with each other.
I like this because it almost sounds like, so I have been talking to my friends for a while there, talking about Black Wall Street,
Mm-hmm.
but making it virtual. So you can make it both ways. So right now we're afforded the ability to have conversations via Zoom and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
But, historically, anytime a collective has gotten together and put anything together, Black Wall Street in multiple places, all 5 of them mentioned have all been considered massacres of some sort, right?
Okay.
But I thought to myself, if you could do part of the brick and mortar and part virtual, they're less likely to be able to burn it down.
Well, listen, this is why I say you must look at what's happening now
Mhm.
and see beyond what's happening as the vision of how things will be and how things have changed to make our understanding and our moving forward,
Yes, moving the needle.
okay, how it is actually going to be done. There's a major shift in the universal minds,
Mhm.
and it's now we must get into it. All we gotta do is go back and connect those dots.
Yes, exactly what I said
Okay.
this morning. I
You
have
said
to.
that this
Yes,
morning?
and I'm going
Okay.
to tell you. I said because it's history. History has a tendency to teach us a lot of things. It can change the trajectory of our future.
Mhm.
All we have to do is listen.
Yeah.
So, me, I'm a firm believer of in the aging population to just sit and listen and talk to those ones who have been there before.
Mhm.
Because this morning I did the history lesson on Maud. Uh, what is her last name? Man, it just escaped me. But she was a secretary for Martin Luther King.
Okay.
Now, and she was his right hand man. So at the end of the day, she had the KKK watching her. She was threatened. Her family was threatened. Everything. But she was like, I don't have time for that. I have a focus and a vision. And she kept moving that needle. And so collectively, they were able to move the needle of progress to where we get to now.
Right.
Unfortunately, she died in 2019. But the thing about that is that if we talk to them earlier and get to understand their experience, we get to learn how they were able to persevere and have such a tenacious attitude about things, and then how can we take that and incorporate it in our today, because maybe it's not as bad as it was back in 1950, 1960s, but it's a slightly different kind of bad now. So, but we can still use those same techniques in order to overcome what we have to move the needle for the next group that hand
It's
the baton off.
perspective.
Yes.
It's perspective, because when you're told for everybody now,
Everybody.
stay home, wear a mask. You can't come in here if you ain't got that mask on. How if we actually just went back to slavery? What was that?
Yes.
Okay, you gotta do this. You can't do this.
Right.
And so you have people rebelling right now because
They don't want to wear masks.
they feel like I have a right. Well, if you're in slavery, you don't.
Right.
You have the right. You have the right to do what you want to do in secret, but not in public.
Right.
So if you don't want to wear that mask at home, that's your business. But if you go into this store,
right,
have it on. So what does that mean to us? Haven't we endured all these?
you're right.
And when I'm talking about Black
Right.
America, haven't we endured that? You can't do that. You can't do this. You got to go here. Back in the day, you had colored restroom, white restroom. You got to go over here. You can't go over there.
Yeah.
So why are we having issues?
We shouldn't really be.
No,
because
we don't have no issues. What we
have.
have to do is plan
Right.
for the future.
Right.
And like I said, all we gotta do is
Be
go back
respectful of
and
the
connect
history.
those dots.
Yep. Be respectful of the history, and understand that the history actually gives us a blueprint to how we're going to be moving forward.
Yeah.
But understand that success doesn't always exist in your bank account. It exists in the impact that you have to a group of people.
Well, your impact should have a different.
There should be some money.
Should be impacting.
You make some money.
impacting your bank account.
Yeah,
Okay.
it should. But there are some times, I think, in some cases where sometimes people, even side note, the hip hop community, they're having conversations steadily. I keep hearing the same conversation come up about how the forefathers of hip hop should be, they should try to collectively get some money together and give back to the forefathers, because they were the trailblazers that got hip hop to where it is today. But the ones who are making the most money off of it are the current artists, and not the Godfathers
because
are
they didn't plan.
because they didn't because it wasn't
They didn't plan.
right.
So if you're going to come up with something,
Mhm.
plan on how. See,
Yeah.
you always got to remember, take care of number one,
Yeah.
because then number two can be taken care of.
Helen Collier said that. She said you're to bake your salary into what you're paying out. So you make sure that you're paid
Mhm.
regardless, because entrepreneurs have a tendency to consistently not pay. Boy, like let me own it too, not pay ourselves.
It's self-induced slavery. Come on.
This
I've
is true.
heard people say, "Oh, I'm not going to take a salary." Well, what are you going to do? Embezzle? I mean,
This is,
what
but
are
it's
you
true.
going to do?
But it's a mindset. It's something that people are just not aware of. So I get it. I get it.
You get it?
I get it.
Yeah,
So I'm
you
good.
got
I
to
got
make
it.
money,
Yes.
because money in this country is where you will be able to understand prosperity.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
prosperity, you give because you know what I'm giving is coming back,
Mhm.
because I done already set it up to where I'm gonna have as much as I need
Right.
and as much as I want to give. And it's no mystery to it, but if you're not taught,
Yes.
and these are some of the things that we try to impart when we're doing what we call our new member orientation, our certification workshop, as you call our boot camps.
Boot camp.
We want to let we got to have a motivational um, light bulb.
Right.
We got to motivate,
Mhm.
and when you're motivating, the light bulb does go off. We have to have something that to say to you that creates that spark
Yep.
and get you to thinking,
Has to resonate enough with you
Yeah.
to make you charge an action.
because you got it in you.
Yeah.
How do we get it out?
Well, if you kick a couple people, they'll get it out.
Yeah.
Because that's the reason why we put together the calendar. You're saying the
Yes.
calendar will actually be updated July 31st.
Well, yeah, July 31st it should be out. So we're going to, as we say, go look back,
Figure out
and
what
you've
to
helped
do.
us put the dots.
Put all the dots in.
The
So
dots are in there.
so we have so right now we're looking at you're gonna have new member orientation the
Mhm.
first and third Monday of every month.
Right.
Okay, so that gives an opportunity for those who are not members to take a peek under the hood,
Mm-hmm.
but not have access to everything.
Mm-hmm.
But see whether or not you just shop before you buy.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then you also have the book club,
Mm-hmm.
which will
That's
be
coming up.
yeah, so
It's
book
coming.
club is not. I think that's pretty cool. So that's a lot of Black authors that are business minded, are similar to the our listeners, or to or anyone around who are members, and we can kind of go through that and kind of help motivate one another, because everybody's
Okay.
perception of the book club.
You've heard everybody has a story.
Everybody.
Okay, and even if the story is technical,
Mhm.
that's still your story.
Right.
So if you want to write a book on how
I can't do
to make a bomb, oh Lord, I shouldn't have said that, huh?
how to make a bomb cake.
Oh, that's a good one. How to make a bomb cake.
How to
Then
make a
write it and
bomb
put it in a
cake.
book. Yeah, okay.
Right. So how to do a
Because
bakery.
they did have a book on how to make an atomic
Yeah,
bomb.
I
So
know,
maybe think about that.
That definitely wasn't us.
No.
But so the book club I thought would be really good and important, because I'm always told different books to read,
Mhm.
but those authors are actually authors that their techniques work for them,
Mhm.
but because they don't have the culture, some of those techniques are very hard for us to
Mhm.
incorporate. So I like the fact that the book club will be a part of what we can do and be invited into and be able to have a conversation and get someone else's perspective on the same book, because they'll like to see how that
Yeah.
works.
One thing about reading, Tabitha, what you see goes in.
Hmm.
The reason you can read is because you're seeing things and then it's coming back out, so you're able to bring that out. So when you read a book, it provokes your
Yeah.
thinking,
Yes.
and it taps into something that was there many, 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 many moons ago
Right.
that
Like,
can
oh, I
that
remember.
it can bring out.
Yeah.
So you just never know. But one of the things that we would really like in this book club is more information
Okay.
on how person has overcome something
Yes.
because of their ethnicity,
Yes.
how they have learned some things that they want to share with you,
Mhm.
and how you can do what they do.
Yes. So that I love that. That's why I'm like,
Okay.
okay, this is cool. So we're gonna get some
Mhm.
Black authors in there. We're gonna have a good conversation. All this stuff is gonna be done via Zoom. So
For now,
for now, that's
Uh-huh.
okay for now.
yeah.
And then,
But you made a good point.
that's
You can't blow up everybody's TV.
right. I can't do that. And then the other one is the Network After 5.
Mhm.
So we're doing a Network After 5, and that's going to be Zoom. And I think it's an opportunity for those people who do not necessarily know how to network
Okay.
via Zoom,
Yeah.
but also being able to, again, meet people that are doing things that are similar
Mhm.
or that can be complementary to one another.
Right. And it's called Business After 5 Networking.
Business After 5.
And we want, because people have more time to do business after 5 now, especially if they were working for someone and
Mhm.
trying to get their business
Right.
going. And okay, so
So that's good. So we got After 5, and then what's the other? So after lunch. This one I really like, the peer-to-peer lunch and learn.
Yeah.
So the way you have it is you listen, lunch, and learn. So an opportunity for other peers inside of the chamber to
Mhm.
actually be able to lend their expertise to the members and show them a couple of things, how they were able to overcome certain things and what they are very familiar with. Like I like to bring up marketing. Marketing is not my friend. As much as I try, sometimes this is not my friend. But we do have people that love marketing and that's their business.
Yeah.
And so there are different tips and tricks that they can actually give to each other to
Mhm.
give to the members that are able to support them.
It also expose their expertise.
Yes.
And that means there's an opportunity
Yes.
for them to do business
Right?
with chamber members, because that's really one of the things that we really, really want to have. But Tabitha, you said it's called Listen?
Listen,
What?
lunch, and learn.
And do you know that that was actually put in place 2 years ago
Really?
before COVID? The word listen.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, okay, so let's put some things together as to what direction we're going to be taking. We had no clue that listen meant that it would mean
Zoom.
Zoom.
Exactly.
Okay.
I would have never thought, because when I first looked at it, it says L&L, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then I looked underneath it, it
Mhm.
actually says listen, lunch, and learn. So that made the difference.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's pretty cool. So
Yeah.
to do the peer-to-peer,
Mhm.
I think is,
And that's a good element that you've added, a piece that you've added to it, because we just came up with it. We hadn't developed it, but guess what? Everything that we put into a mastermind
Mhm.
conversation was 2 years ago.
okay, and now you're getting ready to roll it out for sure. And this is also going to be done through Zoom. And so the opportunity for our members to sign up once their capability statement is complete and turned in, they will have the ability to be able to share their expertise
Mhm.
with other members.
Right.
And so with the member population as it is, there is such a good opportunity to learn about other people that are in your industry
Mhm.
that might have synergy enough to get you
Right.
moving. So I thought that was
Right.
pretty good.
Right.
So even GMT Radio, they can come and talk about
Uh-huh.
advertising and radio
Mhm.
for the lunch and learn.
Right.
And that's something that a lot of people. Okay, so this is a very good example of that.
Mhm.
If you look at the fact that most people think that advertisement, ads, and radio and podcasts are not important for their businesses, and he would be able to come and share
Yes.
that information and say, this is what it looks like, this
Mhm.
is what can happen, and here are some case studies and some
Yeah, because
opportunities.
he's not in this industry because he just fell down on his
Right?
head. Yeah. Every business owner
Started for a reason.
has an opportunity
Mhm.
to give
Mhm.
and get.
Yes.
Okay?
All right.
So every business opportunity, even individuals who are not in business, they have an opportunity to give and get.
Right.
That's that whole motion. You can't constantly do this.
Mm-hmm.
If you put your hands out, you got to bring them back.
Right.
Okay? So if you got nothing in your hand, you
Right.
bringing back
Nothing.
nothing.
Right.
So if you got something in your hand, something will come in there for you to bring back.
Right.
So I like the peer-to-peer because it does mean, and it does get you in the practice of giving,
You're right.
knowing and believing that what you give will come back to you more times than what you give.
I understand that. I agree. This has been great.
Yeah.
It's always nice when you come and visit because we get to learn more things.
Oh, yes.
I'm always
Have we
excited
been here
about
an
that.
hour yet?
Yes, ma'am. So we're going to go
wow.
ahead and wrap it up. So go ahead and tell everybody how they can find you and what you're asking them to do.
Well, they can find Tri-County Regional Black Chamber of Commerce. We do have a website. We have two websites. Well, we have one website with two ways
Right.
to reach it. The
Okay.
quick way is TCB, I'm sorry, tcbcc.org.
Yes.
The long way is Tri-County Regional Black Chamber.org.
Awesome.
But our phone number is 832-875-3977. That number's been around ever since 2005.
See,
So
all
we
right
haven't
now.
changed the phone number, but we do have other phone numbers. We do have fax, and we do have a landline. Sometimes it doesn't work the way we want it to work.
It's
But
okay.
anyway, we do have if you want to send something, you can do info
Mm-hmm.
at tcbcc.org.
How easy is that? That is awesome.
Yeah, info at tcbcc.org. And you can also check out our podcast.
Podcast every
Check out
Friday at 10:30 a.m.
the radio show.
Every morning, Monday through
Every
Friday,
morning.
7 a.m. to 8 a.m.
And if you're a new business, it will be a great opportunity for you to be able to do our showcase.
Yes. See, I know the business showcase is really cool. Right now we're doing a lot more history, but if you call in or send us a message and say you want to go ahead and do business showcase, we'll go ahead and pop you in. We can sit down and chit chat about your business.
Yes, that's it. You got 10 whole minutes.
There you go, 10 whole minutes.
That's a long time.
I know, sometimes it is a very long time. All right, so we're going to go ahead and thank our sponsors. Southwest Airlines is a proud air travel sponsor of Tri-County Regional Black Chamber of Commerce. We'd also like to thank Primacore Business Solutions. So thank you very much for coming and hanging out with me this Friday.
Okay.
And
Somebody else will be here next Friday.
yeah, somebody else will be here with me next Friday. I thank everybody so much. Everybody have a great and glorious day. Bye.
Bye-bye.